Buenos dias. Good morning. My name is Sam Zutler, and I serve gratefully on your worship arts team. I've been an active Unitarian for 62 years, and at almost 100 years of age, I am so proud to say that I am the oldest member of this congregation. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno, California. Welcome to everyone on our virtual church campus. Welcome to everyone on our Alluvial Ave campus. We welcome to everyone watching the service later on Facebook or YouTube. We are one congregation in many places. I especially appreciate our virtual campus because it allows Donna and me to continue to be an active part of the congregation from our home. Our monthly worship theme for November is courage. I appreciate Unitarian Universalism's courage to confront our country's and our own religious racism and white supremacy culture, as Tim's sermon will do today. We acknowledge that our Alluvial Ave church campus sits within the traditional homelands of the Yokut people, who are past, present, and future stewards of this land. As Unitarian Universalists, we welcome you no matter your race, culture of origin, age, spiritual background, or your religious beliefs. We welcome you and your neurodiversity. This is a safe spiritual place, no matter your level of education, the amount of money in your bank account, or your disabilities. We celebrate the rainbow of diversity that includes those of us who are lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, non-binary, or gender fluid. You are welcome with or without documentation. You are welcome here. Todos son bienvenidos aquí. This morning, we introduce a new way for those of us on our virtual campus to share a personal joy, sorrow, gratitude, or concern. Beginning today, in addition to typing them into the chat box in Facebook or YouTube, you can now text them to us at 559-209-4977. That's 559-209-4977. It's just wonderful to see you and to be with you today. Now, in that chat box in person, in the silence of your heart, take a moment to say, Buenos dias, and greet one another. Thank you.
Mark. Maybe not. Oh, wow. Yeah, I've been around here a while, too. I've been here a while, too.
I bet. You look familiar.
Buenos dias. Mi nombre es Timoteo, and my pronouns are he and his. I serve gratefully as minister to this fine institution. In a moment, the sound of the tingsha will invite you to go deep, deep into that place that knows you are worthy, knows you are loved, even if you don't believe that. And then we'll have music from our guest musician, Lance Canales. See, you know you're in for a treat.
I guess I'm up. So formal. I got a little emotional, I have to say. I was thinking back. I was born in 71. My mother was born in 35, so was my father. Their life was much different than mine. My mom would have been proud walking in here, knowing that she's accepted here. My mom was a full-blooded Indian, and their life was a lot different than mine. People are claiming to be native that aren't native, and we just kind of adopt them, you know. And those of us that are a lot darker than others, we can't hide whether the fact we're Indian or not. And seeing him say all those things, I just put myself in my mom's shoes, and I realized that my generation has a lot to be thankful for. People like you that are so accepting. And I didn't think that would affect me like that. I've been here before and I've heard it before. But it was a shame to be an Indian in my mother's time. And when I was a little boy, it still was a shame. And you could be anything else but be a Native American. And like I said, some of us, we couldn't hide it. And it means a lot that you're so accepting to all of us. And I like that, documented or not. There's a whole bunch of Indians that live in Mexico that are not documented, but they're natives. And how are you going to tell a native that he's not welcome in his homeland just because a fence is taller than he is or she is? All right, I'm gonna quit talking. I'll just get in this song because it's gonna be forever. All right. The song is called Clear Eyes, Straight Hands. And if you'll help me out, clap to my foot stomp. Yeah. This is an Indian beat. This is an Indian native. This is my song, but it's a death song. It's my death song when I die. Cloud bringing the lightning down, thunder shaking my soul around. Door will open to the other side, see it all happen right before my eyes. was all my ancestral home. Think I'll go there before too long. When I die, don't bury me. Take me down and burn me away. Yes, I know, and I've been told, Spirit gonna carry my soul. Carry it home.
Good morning. Buenos dias. Mi nombre es Floyd Sanchez. My name is Floyd Sanchez, and I serve on the church's worship arts team. My pronouns are he and him. If you have a candle or chalice with you at home, please bring it close as we'll be lighting it soon. Today, I light our chalice in honor of my father's lost indigenous heritage and culture. According to DNA analysis, my father's genetic signature of ethnicity is 70% indigenous to central Mexico, specifically what are now the Mexican states of Michoacan and Guanajuato. Beyond that, we can't be sure about any of the details. We have no way of knowing the character of the culture this data sheet tells us we originate from. The food, the myths, the art, the traditions, the wisdom, or even surface level language. We're cut off. We're left to fill in these portions of our identity for ourselves, to wonder and dream about what our lives would be like if generational circumstances had permitted us to be cloaked in this rich tapestry of culture. To be honest, I feel a little envious of people of all ethnicities all around the world that are fortunate enough to maintain their connection with their ethnic heritage and culture. When I think about it, I also realize that in this loss lies a special kinship with indigenous people throughout time who over generations were stripped of their knowledge of self. In that spirit, I invite you to light your chalice or candle at home. Tim, are you ready to light the chalice on our Alluvial Avenue campus?
Yes, I am, Floyd.
Let us rise now, embody your spirit, and join in singing our song of praise. Earth was given as a garden. The melody and some of the words you will recognize, but many of the lyrics have been updated by Reverend Tim to reflect our progressive Unitarian Universalist environmental values.
Earth is living a great garden, green and lush and growing free. Tree of life and tree of knowledge, place for sweet discovery. Here is hope for all its creatures, born of land and sky and sea, all created in love's image, all to live in harmony. Show to us again the garden, richly filled with fresh bounty, gently guide creation's splendor into full maturity. Teach us how to trust each other, how to use for good our power, how to touch the earth with reverence, then once more we'll Eden flower. Bless the earth, oh bless this biosphere, one creation make us whole, interwoven, all connected, planet-wide and inmost soul. Holy Mother, life bestowing, bid
invite you to remain standing as together we say the mission statement of this church. La misión de la Iglesia Unitaria Universalista de Fresno es amar inclusivamente, crecer espiritualmente, servir con gratitud y trabajar por la justicia. The mission of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno is to love inclusively, grow spiritually, serve gratefully, and work for justice. Please be seated. At the end of World War I, the 11th day of the 11th month was set aside as Armistice Day, a day to celebrate peace. Peace. Over time, it transformed into what we now celebrate and call Veterans Day. It is incumbent upon us to honor those who have served this country in our armed forces. And so I ask you, if you served during World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, I ask if you served in any of the peacetime in between, if you served in the Middle East wars, Afghanistan, to please rise so we can share with you our grateful appreciation. In the spirit of Armistice Day and peace, I invite us together to breathe in peace and breathe out love. Again, taking in a breath, breathing in peace, breathing out love. One more time, taking that promise of peace deep into the center of our being, we transform it, we breathe out love. As we continue breathing in this hallowed space, I invite your breath to carry you back over the last week, the last 7 days of living. A question: what did you appreciate about the last week? I have a feeling that at least a few of us are appreciating the same thing that happened. And in fact, Bernadette has a joy saying democracy won, and we're getting to have sandwiches after church. Reed is grateful and joyful, experience the full range of emotions through the eyes of the under-8 boys soccer team this season. Go Busy Bees, buzz, buzz. Colby is joyful. She attended the spiritual retreat for the first time yesterday. It was great having you there, Colby. Someone else has texted us saying, it brings me joy that my boyfriend and I are able to connect through this service. Thank you, Unitarian Universalist Church. Also from our virtual campus, grateful for the beauty of the season. Virtual campus, we are very sad to announce the passing of Dave's father, William David Lockling, on 11/10 at the age of 97. We celebrate the life of William, even as we grieve for this family's loss. Jen and Ash are feeling great joy about Jen's new job in D.C., but sorrowful for leaving UU Fresno. And I just want to say, on behalf of this entire congregation, Jen and Ashley, it has been a joy to know you and to welcome your two amazing children, Evie and Casey. Go in peace, go in love. We remember our beloveds, those unable to be with us on this day: Margaret H., Bev F., Edith H., William H., Glenda R., Pat M., and happy to see her here today and sending much love, Josephine J. We continue celebrating Native American Heritage Month, and for all that has been shared, for all that we hold in the sacred silence of our precious hearts, we light our candle of community. We light a second candle that will burn for the 6.61 million citizens of the world who have lost their lives in this pandemic, 1.1 million of whom are Americans, and the numbers rise every week. It is our custom that on the first anniversary of the death of a member of this church, we pause to remember them, to celebrate them, and to light a candle. Today, we lift up the life of Robin L. Greiner, Jr. His smile lit up a room and lit up our hearts. As a dear friend wrote after Robin's death, "This man was one of the sweetest people I have ever had the pleasure of knowing. His kind heart, sweet humor, and beautiful legacy will live in my heart forever." When Robin met Ellis in October of 1966 and fell in love, Robin got a ready-made family and became a devoted and loving father to Sandra, Stephen, and Laura. From band boosters to music lessons, from the family tradition of making gifts for Christmas to beanie weenie soup, Robin was fully present and helped shape who his children became as individuals. Raising children together in conservative Clovis as a gay couple was not easy. Robin and Ellis were the generation of LGBT couples who began their lives hidden in the shadows, but who, because of great courage and commitment, helped pave the way for domestic partnership, then marriage equality, and now the growing understanding that love is love is love. To light Robin's candle, Ellis, his husband of 55 years. Our call to meditation: comfort me, O my soul, consuélame.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Consuélame, 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 oh mi alma. Consuélame, 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 oh mi alma. Speak to me, speak to me, speak to me, oh my soul. Speak to me, speak to me, háblame, háblame, oh mi alma. Háblame, 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 oh mi alma. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
So my practice, my religious practice is the way of Yokut people, and so I'm just going to show you what it's like to be at one of our ceremonies. So if you're at one of our ceremonies, you have to participate. That's the rules. All right? So you're not going to know what you're saying. You're just going to have to sing it. And we don't necessarily go by words when we're singing, because it's from the heart. And whenever you sing from the heart, no matter what you're saying, your heart tells the truth. Your heart knows. And when the Spirit's listening to you, they know your heart. They don't really care about if you get the words right. They care about what happens inside your heart. So open your heart and let that vibration, the earth and the universe is all vibration. We've been talking about this for millions of years. When we sing, it's vibration. It comes out of us into the universe. It's vibration. And when you attach your heart to that vibration, it creates this energy and this power. And hopefully we can create that right now. I got 5 minutes. And they know Indians are long-winded when they get a microphone in their hands. So they put a clock on me. So you're going to sing with me? All right. You're going to sing in the Yokut language. And I'm not going to tell you if there's curse words or not. You're just going to say them. And you can go to Catholic church and go to do all of whatever they do. What do they do when they sit down? They talk to the guy with the thing when the door closed. I don't know what that is, but you can do that later. Ya chipni mayan hichipich manat. Ya whipplin mayan no hintan. Yo yokuch mayan mahintan. Ya whipplin mayan mahintan. I asked my ancestors, Chipni Mayan, the creator of all things, to come and sing with us today. Whipplin Mayan, I'm going to sing. Ya Whipplin Mayan, I'm going to sing. Whipplin is sing, Mayan is me. So here we go. Sing with me. Chipili illa heo henna. Chipili illa heo henna. Chipili illa heo henna. Chipili illa heo henna. Amama choho polen san polano. Amama choho polen san polano. Chipili illa heo henna. Chipili illa heo henna. Chipili illa heo henna. Chipili illa heo henna. Amama choho polen san polano. Amama choho polen san polano. Chipili illa heo henna. Chipili illa heo henna. Chipili illa heo henna. Chipili illa heo henna. Amama choho polen san polano. Amama choho polen san polano. Chipili illa heo henna. Chipili illa heo henna. Chipili illa heo henna. Chipili illa heo henna. Oh, that's asking for help from the Creator. When all else is, you got nothing else. There's no money in the bank, nobody to call you out of wherever. You got nothing. You got one thing. That's your voice and your heart. And whenever you connect those two together and aim it towards the Creator, Chipni Mayan, nothing but good is going to happen after that. How much time do I got? 0. Oh, ito naman hit this. Yechuman Yokuts. Oh.
So, Lance, you shared vibrations of the heart from your tradition, and we would like to share vibrations of our hearts from our Unitarian Universalist tradition. All music arises from a context, from the religion, the culture that it emanates from. The song we're about to sing, Spirit of Life, Fuente de Amor, was written in the 80s by a Unitarian Universalist composer by the name of Carolyn McDade. She looked at the hymns that the congregations were singing in Unitarian Universalist churches and saw that most of them were written by men. She wanted a song that would reflect the power of the divine feminine within all. She also wanted words that connected Unitarian Universalists to the earth, to the living, breathing planet that we are part of. Out of this was born what is probably the most sung as well as the most loved Unitarian Universalist song, Spirit of Life, Fuente de Amor. I invite us to rise in body or spirit, and let us bless one another, and let us bless Lance with these words.
2, 3, 4.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. In the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Fuente de amor, ven hacia mí y al corazón cántale tu compasión. Sopla el valor, sube en la mar hasta moldear la justicia de la vida. Arréglame, libérame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí.
Today's sermon topic was selected by church member Paula Siegel. She won the right to this sermon by being one of the high bidders at our annual auction, where we auction off a sermon topic. I want to be upfront. I am not a scholar of the history of the indigenous peoples of California. I am not even a beginner in understanding its history. So Paula, I will do my best, but I apologize in advance for any generalizations I make or if any of my words offend. This sermon shares but a few snippets of a vast history of the Yokuts. It is a meager morsel of a far greater feast that awaits those who delve into the story of their past and their present. A land acknowledgement is a traditional custom that dates back centuries in many Native nations and communities. Today, land acknowledgements are used by Native peoples and non-Native peoples to recognize Indigenous peoples who are the original stewards of the land on which we now live. But for land acknowledgements to have meaning beyond the symbolic, it requires that we, at the very least, come to know something about the Indigenous people whose lands and lives were colonized. Even better, a land acknowledgement is a precursor to developing relationships with the current Indigenous stewards of the land. It can also be an invitation to support financially or become involved with Indigenous-led social justice movements and organizations. Our land acknowledgement is also a way of honoring the Indigenous heritage of members of our own congregation. And so, we acknowledge that our Alluvial Avenue Church campus sits within the traditional homelands of the Yokuts, the past, present, and future stewards of this land. I quote the Tachi Yokuts as I say, the Indigenous people of the San Joaquin Valley were and are known as Yokuts. The word Yokuts means people. The Yokuts were unique among California natives in that they were divided into true tribes. Each had a name, a language, and a territory. As you can see in green, the Yokuts' land stretched from the Sacramento-San Joaquin River Delta in the north to Bakersfield in the south and the foothills of the Sierra to the east. Wallace Smith, in his seminal history of the Central Valley entitled Garden of the Sun, which is extraordinary in its scope and also horribly infused with racist and misogynistic statements and bias, Wallace Smith writes, "The word Yokuts is both singular and plural in form, hence the proper way to say one Yokuts or several Yokuts." There were between 50 and 60 different Yokuts tribes, depending on what source you look at. It is estimated that prior to the Spanish, Mexican, and American genocides of the Yokuts, there were about 70,000 Yokuts living in the Central Valley. In fact, our valley had one of the highest regional population densities in indigenous North America. After enduring multiple genocides, it is estimated that there are 2,500 Yokuts alive today. To talk about the history of the Yokuts, we have to begin, well, at the beginning. According to historians Damon B. Akins and William J. Bauer, Jr., Indigenous people begin their history with creation stories. These creation stories define a people and a land. Thus, the history of Indigenous people in California began when creators made the land and the people. As told by the Tachi Yokuts, whose ancestral homelands sit in the southern San Joaquin Valley, this is how their world came to be. Long ago, eagle and coyote sat on a spit of land in a vast ocean. Turtle swam over to them, Eagle asked Turtle to dive to the bottom of the sea and bring back dirt. Turtle gulped as much air as he could and dove. He struggled to reach the ocean's floor and managed to grab only a tiny handful of dirt. Turtle breached the water and flopped exhausted on the island with Coyote and Eagle. In doing so, much of the dirt washed out of Turtle's hand. Coyote inspected Turtle's hand and nearly gave up hope of finding soil, any soil at all, when he spied a bit of mud underneath Turtle's fingernail. Eagle and Coyote mixed the dirt with chia seeds to make the earth. Then Eagle and Coyote made human beings out of earth's soil and then sent those people throughout the earth. They told the Tachi Yokuts, you go to the Central Valley, go to that place with your people. Historians Damon B. Adkins and William J. Bauer Jr. note that creation stories describe the relationship between California's indigenous people and the land. First, creators made indigenous people out of the land itself. Second, indigenous people developed ways of working with the land. Finally, California's indigenous people lived with the land in complex social, political, and economic networks. They built towns, coordinated or cooperated or fought with their neighbors, and extended trade routes to reach those farthest away. The Tachi Yokuts write, the Yokuts lived a simple life, depending on the land for food, clothing, and shelter. They are called the seed gatherers because they did no farming in the days before the Europeans appeared. Their main food was acorns. They made simple clothing out of bark and grass. Their jewelry and headbands were made of seeds and feathers. The Yokuts found life in the California Valley to be pleasant and peaceful for centuries. This is the Central Valley. The land of the Yokuts people is the land in purple. Wallace Smith writes, the northernmost group of the Yokuts consisted of 10 tribes. The Pitcachi made their home south of the San Joaquin River around Herndon and Sycamore Point, and south over the low-lying plains to where Fresno is now located. Each Yokuts tribe was divided into 2 moieties, or 2 parts, or social groupings. Smith notes that every member in the tribe belonged to one or the other of these lodges. Marriage between people in each of the 2 societies was forbidden. Each moiety had their own hereditary chief. Each chief had a jester with duties similar to that of the medieval court fool. He ridiculed that which was sacred and jeered at those who were in authority. 2 spirit people, people who were non-binary and non-gender conforming, served as tribal morticians, cremating the dead bodies. They played an important ceremonial role in the life of the tribe, and they enjoyed certain privileges. The Yokuts lived in several types of buildings. Sometimes it was a building with one large room that served as a communal space with fireplaces arranged for each family. 10 families usually occupied each common hall. Cognizant of the valley summer heat, A shade porch ran along the entire length of the house. Villages were built along water sources like streams and rivers, which were so abundant in the valley at that time. Smith notes that prior to the arrival of the European colonizers, the Yokuts usually had an abundant and variety of food: fish, fowl, gophers, rabbits, pine nuts, acorns, lizards, grass seeds, deer, and elk, which were generally available. The land was lush and green, the water widespread in this wet, fertile valley. The bow and arrow were the primary hunting tools of the Yokuts. Smith writes, picture it, on moonlit nights, bears were shot from nests high in the oak trees, while those bears fed on acorns underneath the trees. For fishing, ground buckeye nuts with earth stamped into them were mixed with nadine leaves and thrown into streams. This temporarily poisoned the water and caused the fish to float to the surface. The fish were then scooped up in baskets. This work had to be done rather quickly because the fish were not killed, merely paralyzed temporarily. But acorns were the primary food source due to the abundant oak forests all over the valley. Smith writes that acorns were used to provide flour for bread and mush, and it was ground in great mortars. Damon B. Akins and William J. Bauer Jr. say acorns sustained Central Valley indigenous life. They possess a high content of fat and vitamin B6, and that high fat allowed people to survive the lean winter months. The Yokuts were responsible stewards of the land in so many ways. The oak tree and the acorns is just one example. Akins and Bauer write, indigenous people built fires underneath oak trees to stunt the growth of weeds. This type of burning made it easier for families to harvest acorns that had been knocked to the ground. Fires also promoted the growth of straight but pliable oak shoots and deer grass, materials Yokuts used to make baskets. Fire controlled insects that might blight a year's crop. Burns took care of weevils and worms that feasted on decomposing acorns. Burning stimulated the growth of food near the oak trees. Black morel mushrooms, for instance, thrive in black oak forests that have been burned. Burnt over landscapes were also easier to travel, easier to hunt on. Thus, the Yokuts worked the land to ensure its productivity. Rituals, religious rituals, played an important role in the life of the Yokuts. Group ceremonies often included shamanic displays of great spiritual power. One informational website says that the most important ritual for the Yokuts was the annual mourning ceremony, a 6-day ritual held in the fall to honor the dead who had passed away during the previous year. The ceremony involved symbolic killing, the destruction of property, and the ritualized washing of mourners. Perhaps it was a harbinger of things to come. This Yokuts' centuries-old way of living sustainably and freely on and with the land began to be altered in shattering and deadly ways. Spanish army deserters from the mission in San Diego were the first Europeans to arrive in the Central Valley in 1770, followed by the Spanish army seeking to find them. The subsequent Spanish colonizing of the Central Valley brought disease, displacement, enslavement, death, and destruction. After Mexico secured control of California in 1822, it was more of the same. The first permanent home in the San Joaquin was made by Jose Noriega in 1836. From then till 1846, over 30 land grants were made in the valley to Mexican settlers. Akins and Bauer write, settlers' colonial policies attempted to separate indigenous peoples from the land and from each other. Mexican livestock destroyed customary food sources. Missionaries believed in tearing away indigenous people from their allegedly wild and primitive state. This led to enforced family separation. Disease took the lives of many and reduced the reproductive rate and lifespan of those who survived. Religious leaders, so-called religious leaders, assaulted indigenous people's lifeways and punished those who defied their authority with imprisonment, public flogging, and execution. Some Yokuts attempted assimilation. Others took up arms and resisted. Next came the Americans. And, writes Wallace, the 1848 discovery of gold sent Americans surging into the San Joaquin Valley, vastly outnumbering the Yokuts. The demand for beef caused a rapid growth of ranching on the valley floor, and the mighty forests of oak were cut down to make pastures. The acorn was no more. The valley's waterways were diverted to crops and to cattle. More people poured into the valley. The early trails of indigenous people were replaced by roads. Stagecoaches, in turn, were soon supplanted by railroads, which simulated and supported wheat growing. By 1882, less than 100 years after Europeans first stepped foot there, the San Joaquin Valley was the famed land of bonanza wheat fields. What was once vast forests of oak trees was now the wide, open valley we know today. The Tachi Yokut tribe writes, California has a tragic history of hostility towards its native people, including unrestrained vigilante groups that hunted native men, women, and children like game animals during the first decades of statehood, killing thousands upon thousands. The state's first governor, John McDougall, famously declared, "A war of extermination will continue to be waged between the races until the Indian races become extinct." The first governor of this state. Raymond Cootie Jeff, a tribal historian, shares the following historic information on the Tachi Yokut website, from which I am quoting, and the use of the word Indian is theirs. In 1852, when our 18 treaties were not ratified, the U.S. turned its head the other way and let the state of California handle the Indian population. So for over 50 years, our genocide lasted. The timeline for the extermination of California Indians is as follows. 1856. And if we could have that slide. 1856. The state of California issued a bounty of 25 cents per Indian scalp. 1860. The state of California increased the bounty to $5 per India's scalp. By 1903, 99% of the Tachi Yokut population were killed. During all this time, no indigenous people could individually own land. 1921, the federal government created 123 small indigenous settlements in California. 1944, the United States let California steal Yokuts land for a sale of $1.25 per acre. By 1950, the entire population of indigenous people in California totaled 22,000, compared to 394,000 before the arrival of the Europeans. The rich culture of the Yokuts lives on in the remaining Yokuts in the Central Valley and beyond. Despite repeated attempts to wipe them away, it is estimated that 2,000 remain today and are shaping the future of the Yokuts people, including our musical guest, Lance Canales. A land acknowledgement is a traditional custom that dates back centuries in many Native nations and communities. Today, land acknowledgements are used by Native people and non-Natives to recognize the indigenous peoples whose ancestral homeland is the land on which we now live. And so, we acknowledge that our Alluvial Avenue church campus sits within the traditional homelands of the Yokuts, the past, present, and future stewards of this land. Que así sea, bendito sea. May it be so, blessed be. Amen.
I'm getting way too much attention today. I don't And after all of that, we're still here. In my heart, I'm full-blooded, but my DNA says 52%. Daddy must have been an Indian too. Anyway, I appreciate all that you do. And just hearing all of that again, I grew up with that. I grew up with that. I knew that. And it's different when it's coming from someone else. And everybody sitting there, and it's just, my mother would be proud. Here's a song that made my dad proud. In 1948, Woody Guthrie wrote the lyrics to a poem, and that poem became a song. And then that song became a cry out. And from a cry out, we gave names to the nameless. And they're buried at Holy Cross Cemetery on Belmont Avenue here in Fresno. That song changed my life. Woody Guthrie changed my life too. I'm a personal friend of Nora Guthrie and the Guthrie family. And I'm proud to say that. But also I'm proud that I am a link in the chain from Woody Guthrie all the way down to the deportees who are buried with their names now at Holy Cross Cemetery. Here's to them, here's to my father, and here's to all the Yokuts and Yanas who have passed, whose names we will never ever be able to say, but they died simply for being an Indian. She's tired of seeing my mocos. You know, sit in the back then next time. Crops are all in and the peaches are rotting. The oranges are piled and they're creosote on. They're flying me back to the Mexican border. Pay all my money, way back again. Goodbye to my one, goodbye Rosalita. Adios mi amigos, Susie Maria. You know you call by a name when you ride the big airplane. Or they will call us the deportee. My father's own father waded that river. They took all the money he made in his life. My brothers and sisters come work in the fruit trees. Rode the big truck till they took down and died. We died in your hills, we died in your deserts. We died in your mountains, we died in your plains. We died beneath your trees, we died in your bushes. Both sides of the river, we died just the same. Goodbye to my one, goodbye Rosalita. Adios mi amigos, Susie Maria. No, you won't have a name when you ride the big airplane. All they will call us is the deportees. Some of us illegal and some are unwanted. Since some of us illegal and most are unwanted. And it's 600 miles to the Mexican border. They chase us like outlaws, like animals, like thieves. You ask who are these friends, all scattered like dry leaves. The radio calls us all just deported. Oh, goodbye to my one, goodbye Rosalita. Adios mi amigos, Jesus y Maria. No, we won't have a name when we ride the big airplane. All they will call us is the deportee. Goodbye to my one, goodbye Rosalita. Adios mi amigos, Jesus y Maria. No, you won't have a name when you ride the big airplane. All they will call us is the deportee.
On the second Sunday of each month, we hold a special offering for a social justice group, organization, or individual that is in alignment with our Unitarian Universalist values. This Sunday, we are pleased to welcome Kevin Hall from KFCF for some brief comments.
Hi, friends.
Hey.
So good morning, and thank you once again for inviting KFCF to join you. I'd like to start with a quick survey, if you don't mind, with a show of hands. And some people don't do this. If you don't, would you show your hands now for me, please? No. There you are. I knew it. All right, thank you. Okay, so we'll call it about 100 people. Somewhat in keeping with the theme of the service, unknown to me, and not including the long-term residents of the Valley, I'd like to know how many of the people here came to the San Joaquin Valley as adults, either to go to college or take a job. And usually it's about half the crowd. I think we're running a little higher than that here, about 3/4, would you say? I almost called you father. And then people like me who were either born here or brought here as children. I would call second generation. How many of you are second generation? So we're down to maybe 10 or 15. And then third generation or more, your grandparents would have brought your parents here? Yeah? Down to a handful. Oh, we're coming up. How about beyond that, fourth or greater? Yeah? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is a very typical demographic, a little larger. Final big question. How many people plan to live the rest of their natural lives here on the valley floor and do not plan or dream of moving to the mountains, the coast, or another state? How many are here for the duration? What do you estimate? Over half. Over half. Good. Most of us are here to stay. Poet activist Gary Snyder advised that you find your place on the earth, dig in, and take responsibility for it. Our community relies on long-term commitments from individuals like you and institutions like this. This church is an important anchor in our community. KFCF is another such anchor. A community-owned and operated radio station is a rare thing. It provides a public platform for local artists and activists mixed with statewide and national programming. And we're in trouble. Membership has dropped sharply. I don't hope to make up the shortfall here today, not directly. We do need donations. More important, we need your involvement, your feedback, and your support. I'm the station's newest board member. I go to my first board meeting on Tuesday, and now chair of the fundraising committee. We're launching a membership drive. And a big part of that will be through support of local concerts, lectures, and other events. I'd love to talk with you more about it later and hear your ideas. Please join. Thank you very much.
In the spirit of giving, let us join our voices in our call to offering. If not us, then who? If not open hearts, then what? If not now, then when? If not here, then where? If not generously, then how? If not us, then who? Here is a slide showing how you can make a financial contribution right now on our virtual campus. Or if you are on our Alluvial Avenue campus, you can always drop cash or check in the basket on your way out the sanctuary. Or you can share generously right this moment by using Cash App. Just send your contributions to $UU Fresno. The morning offering for KFCF will be gratefully received.
Earlier this week, I read a thought on Twitter by Sufi mystic teacher Mariam Hasna that resonated with me. She said, Sufism recognizes that all spiritual paths lead to the one. And it made me feel especially grateful for the community and spirit stewarded here by our Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno and the greater Unitarian Universalist community dispersed all around the world, encouraging folks just like us to find the unique path that leads them to commune with the divine. As we prepare to end our service and enter into our afternoon, please join us in our chalice extinguishing words.
Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts.
It's been great to gather with you all today. I hope this week brings ease and allows opportunities to bring all of our gifts in full presence for the benefit of ourselves, our families, our friends, and our communities. Here's a wave to everybody on our virtual church campus and those watching later on Facebook and YouTube. I hope to see you all next week for our annual service of Thanksgiving, even as we acknowledge that for many indigenous people, the holiday of Thanksgiving is a national day of mourning for the genocide that this holiday commemorates. Tim, I believe you have some reminders before our closing words.
Floyd, I do. Approaching the chancel, Patty Bennett is our coordinator of community life. If you are new or newish to our congregation, Patty is your go-to person. She has the answers to anything and everything Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno. How we exit the sanctuary, we do allow our socially distanced folks to head out first. The rest of you are invited to proceed through those doors as well. I will be out there greeting folks and saying hello. And Lance, I'm not sure if you would like to join me out there, but I know a lot of folks would love to say hi. You may need to keep running because you're a busy man, but the invitation is there. Coffee hour is transformed this day to the long-awaited all-church sandwich potluck, beginning in 5 minutes. If you didn't bring food to share at the sandwich potluck, never fret. We brought so much for you. We hope that you will join us outside. It'll be a little chilly, so drink hot chocolate. Also outside is our ever-popular welcome and question and answer with a board member from the Board of Trustees. And I believe, Patty, you are going to be the board person that you all, if you're new or newish, get to chat with. Coming up in December will be a life-changing event. Another edition of Lorenzo and Friends. Here is a shortened little teaser.
Hi everybody, Lorenzo here, letting you know that on Sunday, December 4th at 3 p.m., we're having our third annual Lorenzo and Company musical fundraiser to benefit the UUCF General Fund. It's going to be live in the sanctuary only. It's going to be a spectacular event, I promise you, with many of our incredibly talented UUCF musicians participating, plus some very special guests. And you can buy tickets to this amazing live in-person event for $25 each or for $50 for a family by visiting the church website, www.uufresno.org, going to the main menu and locating the Lorenzo and Company, a musical fundraiser link and clicking there. Or you'll be able to buy tickets at the door at the time of the event. Once again, you're going to have a breathtakingly entertaining time while also, and this is the important part, while also being able to support our church financially. And here's a little taste of what you won't want to miss.
Who are you dreaming of? Who gets me lost in this crying?
En este orillo del mundo, lo que no expresé es baldío. Creo que he visto una luz al otro lado del río.
I sing because I'm happy, and I sing because I'm free.
Like a sudden rain on a Texas night when you catch your breath and can't speak.
Oh, rock me, mama, like a wedding ring. Rock me, mama, and away me. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like a
Again, that's Sunday, December 4th at 3 p.m. live in the sanctuary. Check out our website and buy those tickets.
So, before we send folks out of both our virtual and our Alluvial Ave sanctuary, I want to remind folks on Alluvial Ave, their ushers will have slips of paper with food items you can bring next week for our collection for Fresno food pantries. Our tradition, if this is your first, second, or third time with us, we like to gently, gently, gently welcome you because we are genuinely glad on this day you decided to spend time with us. So if this is your first, second, or third time, we invite you to rise for just a moment. We won't leave you standing alone for long. Welcome back. It's wonderful to see you. Welcome back. Welcome. Welcome. I invite the rest of the congregation to rise with them for our closing words and then our sung benediction. If you came with a pod, join hands. If you came on your precious own self, hands over your beautiful heart. Go now in peace. May you leave this place knowing you are good and knowing you are loved. Take your love from this place, share it with the world. Stay safe until we meet again. And may the longtime sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Blessed be. Amen.
2, 3, 4.
safe passage, safe passage. May we have safe passage on our way, safe passage on your way, wanderer, safe passage on your way, searcher, safe passage on your way, sweet pilgrim, safe passage on our way. May we have safe passage,
Assalam.
Alaikum.
Shalom and assalamu alaikum.
2, 3, 4.